I knew nothing of her. My mother didn't speak of her, and after I found out what happened to her, I don't blame her. I wouldn't speak of her neither. It would be so hard, it would be pushed back so far that you don't ever want to remember it. And I see why my mother didn't want to talk about it. My name is actually Ursula Botilde Laube Jensen Harper.
Good morning.
Harper doesn't fit, but hey, what can I say? I have been looking for information regarding my grandmother, my Oma. She was executed by Hitler for espionage in theory. It was a very sad ending for something that perhaps shouldn't even have been. If her husband would have paid the support he was supposed to pay, but he did not, he refused. And so, well, you have to feed your children, and that's just a mother instinct. And you do whatever you can do, and she couldn't get a decent job, so social assistance wasn't really there at that point in Germany. So you go to plan B or C or whatever plan you're on. Because spring of 38, that's when she started to spy, that's when she signed the Verpflichtungsschein.
Yeah.
So that was spring of 38. So by the middle of 39, she was already gone. The information's a little sparse. I have more than I ever thought I'd have, but I am still searching. There's lots to be found.
I'm Ilona Ryder, and I've been Ursula's friend for over 60 years. And I've been on some of this journey of her searching for her Oma with her. It started out that Ursula was doing photo albums, duplicates for her children. And it turned out that the one person that she didn't have a picture of was her Oma.
It's been a long journey. I think we started, my girlfriend and I started in '89, writing to archives. The normal reply is, I am sorry, because of the war we have lost everything. So when I actually got the actual Urteil, or judgment, I was so elated. That's what got the whole thing rolling. Of course, 56 pages of German, it was like, oh my Lord, what am I thinking? But my good friend Ilona, she rescued me, and I did part of it and she did part of it, so that we knew what was happening. And that's why we know about all the appearances in front of a judge, etc., right? Otherwise we wouldn't know.
In the name of the German people, the accused was sentenced to death due to the charge of treason, and also to permanent loss.
And then another woman sent me a copy of her death. She was guillotined. Head removed into a basket, and then her body was just thrown into the back of a truck and sent to, what do you call it, an anatomical, well, the word is terrible, place where they just did experiments on the bodies. And then just thrown into a mass grave. It wasn't quite the way I had envisioned it, and it was very difficult to read. But you know, if it wouldn't be for those people that sent them to me, I wouldn't have gotten further, right? Without that, there's nothing, because you need something to prove what you are saying. Whether it's right or wrong, or you're making up the whole thing, but if you can find documentation to prove that you're making it up, that's good. Because you have to have something. All we need now is a photograph. I have my Oma in a nutshell here. It's just, it's easier to find things. When she was transferred from somewhere, Königsberg, I would gather, and then from Elbing to the prison in Berlin Moabit. Elbing was an interrogation prison. And I'm assuming that Moabit was also an interrogation prison. From the women's prison, in Moabit prison, she was sent to the women's prison, still in Berlin. But this was in February of 41, and that was the same time when they wrote the judgment. So I think it all kind of hung together, and that was where it was decided that she would be charged with treason, and treason carried the death penalty. Didn't matter who you were, you didn't survive. They transferred her from the women's prison to the punishment prison, they called it, Platzensee. That was just the night before she was to be executed. And then, very unfortunately, we come to the death by beheading.
Yeah. Tod durch Enthauptung.
It sounds so pleasant, doesn't it? Yeah, it's very sad. Very sad. But there's no prison photo. There's no document of when she was arrested. She would have had a passport. She would have had an Ausweis, just kind of an ID document, always with photographs. So maybe we can get a photo of my Oma. I don't know. So far, I just have a likeness. I know it looks like her because my mother said, "Oh my God, that's a picture of my mother." So that was a good validation. I wanted something, anything. So my sister, she knew a woman quite well who was a medium. And then we found a ex-police sketch artist because we needed somebody to draw this up, right? So I went there and they just sat there, looked at me for a while because they didn't know my Oma either. And then they started one at a time. Okay, her face. No, it's not quite like that. It's a little rounder there, but no, it's not quite like that. And that's how the whole 2 hours went. And in the end, we ended up with 3 different sketches. But when I took him to my mother, I said, "Mama, who are these people?" And she said, "That's my mother." So then I knew that they were very close. How, I have no idea. I'm not really into that world at all, but it obviously works. There aren't any really important parts. They're all important. There's a bunch of holes, but it does link together more or less. And I'd like to maybe get more information. I at least have got what I have. I have way more than I had when I started, and I'm very grateful for that. If other people happen to be looking for something in the same field, let's put it that way, and my Oma happens to show up, like in police documents, that would be very nice, preferably before the torture. And if not, well then not. It's okay now. I really always wanted it. That was my real dream. But I've discovered it's not as simple as it seems. You can't just dial them up and say, "By the way, this is what I want," because that doesn't happen. And it's okay if I don't get the rest. It's really okay. I would like it, but it's okay if I don't get it. Sometimes you just have to be happy with what you have. We cannot always want more. So, yeah. Well, my good friend, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll do her.
Think we'll do her?
Yeah, I think so. I've got a much better idea now of all the stuff you have. I'm Stephania. I'll be bugging you to start writing.
Oh, of course you will. Let's get the Harper thing finished first.
Oh,
right?
let's do one thing.
Bist du meine Minichen? Kleine Minichen. Ja. Das ist ein Furrball.